Hey there, I'm Patrick. I'm the creator of Recipe Kit for Shopify, and this is going to be a quick video going over how the app works and why I think it'll be useful for any store in the food and drink industry on the Shopify platform. So the core intention behind the app is combining content marketing, aka delicious recipes that people find on Google search results, and product advertising. So being able to embed your Shopify store products in those recipe cards and sell them to those new customers that are discovering your store for the first time. So the app comes with a whole bunch of advanced features. If you've created recipes online before and used other recipe tools, you'll find those same features in Recipe Kit here. Or if it's your first time ever creating recipes for a blog, it's a really easy to use interface and it just makes sense. But I'll go over some of the quick features that really will save you a lot of time and headache if you were to try and create recipes on your own without Recipe Kit. So starting off, Recipe Kit automatically generates this thing that Google calls rich structured data. And this structured data is what Google looks for when it's indexing your blogs and your Shopify store to determine whether a page is a recipe or not. And if it does determine it's a recipe, it tries to look into it to get more details like the finding the recipe image, the ingredients involved, etc. So on the screen here, you can see just Googled mac and cheese recipe, and at the top here, we've got this recipe carousel that Google sort of recently introduced. And here you can see my demo store has the top two results here, but you can see we've got a detailed recipe image, social proof of star ratings of how many people have reviewed the recipe, the amount of ingredients we require, and the total time required as well. Beyond the recipe carousel, again, the structured data will give Google the information to just show that sort of information in a standard search result as well. So if you show up a little bit lower, whatever it is, your search result can still show this recipe image, the reviews, the cook time, the ingredients. And if we compare this result to another recipe down here, let's say this slow cooker mac and cheese recipe, this recipe doesn't have any of that structured data. And you can see it's just showing up like a standard Google search result, which is fine. But when we compare that to this one, personally, I'm thinking 9 times out of 10, I'm personally clicking on the one that has this star rating. I know 300 people have voted this 4 stars. I know it's going to be a solid recipe. I see the image. I'm personally clicking on that 9 times out of 10. And I think most of the time your readers and potential customers will be doing the same. So if we actually click into the recipe here, we can see what your customers will see when they stumble upon your Shopify store blog. So as you can see here, this is just a demo store, my recipe kit demo store. So this is all built onto the Shopify blog system. So this will look exactly like your Shopify theme does, exactly like your Shopify blog does. And recipe kit is just adding that thin layer on top with that structured data and also this recipe card that I'll show you in just a second. This area up here is just a standard Shopify blog content section. So the same way that you're writing blogs right now, you can do the exact same here, adding images, changing formatting, etc. At the bottom though is what Recipe Kit populates when you create a recipe within Recipe Kit. So here's what one of the 4 current designs for Recipe Kit looks like. And this is all changeable. If you want to change the borders, the colors, etc., you can do that within the app settings. Or if you have a developer on hand, they can change the entire structure of the recipe card to better fit your store. So the recipe card comes with the sort of familiar features that you're probably used to if you've been browsing recipes for any amount of time now. You've got social media sharing up here. You've got a print button that gets rid of all of the extra stuff on your website for the printing process, allowing the reader just to print out just the recipe card. All of the recipe details, a rating module, and then down here in the ingredient section is really where that product advertising and Shopify integration comes into play. So here we've got this penne pasta and butter product. And you can see here that these ingredients are linked and have this add to cart button beside them. And if we hover over that, we can see the actual product of the penne pasta 1 pound package that we're selling. And clicking that will automatically add it to my Shopify store cart. And then at the bottom here, I can just click on checkout and immediately get pushed to the Shopify checkout. So once again, this is 3 clicks from a brand new user finding your recipe for the first time, scrolling through it, adding a product to their cart, and then purchasing that, which is it's super low friction for somebody who's just discovering your site for the first time and establishing that trust. And once again, I think it's a really powerful tool for any store that's in this industry that could be selling ingredients or pots and pans, equipment, etc. Beyond the ingredient list, you've got your standard directions, an embedded video from TikTok, YouTube, Instagram, whatever, recipe note, and then a recipe nutrition section as well. So this is what your customers are seeing. And on the back end, what you'll see when you're creating the recipes is the embedded Shopify app of Recipe Kit. So it's a pretty standard interface. You can search through all of your recipes and see all of their ratings from a bird's eye view. But we'll go into this mac and cheese one and see what the recipe editor looks like. So once again, I mean, the core sort of intention of the app as well is to make the recipe creation process easy. If you've tried creating recipes on your own through the blog editor or through a page or theme editor, you know, it just takes a lot of time. And you've probably already put all of the time in cooking and developing the recipe. So I don't understand why it should take, hours just to format a recipe just to make it look good on your blog. So Recipe Kit really excels at that because you can just fill out all of these fields that are all labeled perfectly, autocomplete, like you can breeze through this form like nothing. And it perfectly formats this recipe card that looks consistent across all recipes with no effort at all. Here at the ingredient list is where we see that Shopify product integration. So if I click attach product, it pops up with all of my Shopify products. And if I just go and attach this penne product and save it, that's where we get that add to cart button that shows up before. Beyond that, you've got directions with the potential to upload images, the recipe notes section, and nutrition. And that's more or less everything. You've got a recipe rating section, and on the business plan users, we've got this newly released feature, which is recipe analytics, that gives you a sort of bird's eye view of how many people are viewing this recipe and how many people are purchasing products from it. So you can see today we had 16 recipe views and 5 add to carts, which is a great conversion percentage. Outside of that, that's the bulk of the admin experience. And the final thing I'll go into is the Google Rich Data testing tool. So once again, if you click on this button, it's going to automatically direct you to this testing tool. And as I mentioned, RecipeKit is automatically generating this structured data for you. And this rich result testing tool is Google's free tool that you can use to scan any page on your website, and Google will then show you sort of the data that they're seeing when they're indexing your website. So here we can see shows that detected structured data recipes, and we've got that green check mark beside it, which means it's an all okay and that the recipe is going to show up in those Google search results. If we actually click in here, we can see that it shows 10 non-critical issues. So the important thing to highlight here is that if Google has, or if Google is showing you an error, you're missing a required field like the recipe image, for example, it'll show a big red X everywhere, and you'll be very warned that Google is warning you that your recipe is not going to show up in search results. In this case, I've got what they call non-critical issues. And if we scroll down, we can see that all of these issues are just that I'm missing direction images. And once again, it shows optional, they're warnings. It's just purely recommended fields that Google would like you to add, but they aren't going to penalize you in any way. Your recipes are still showing up in search results, but they just want you to fill out as many fields as possible just to give as much information as possible. So this is a really good tool. I generally suggest as soon as you create a recipe and publish it, run it through the testing tool so you can see if Google has any warnings or if you're missing any fields that Google really wants you to fill out. Outside of that, that's the majority of the app. And like I said, there's a whole bunch of fun tools like AI recipe creation and bulk editing and a whole bunch of other stuff. But I think that'll give you an idea of how the app works. And I hope it gives you an idea of how you could help your content marketing strategy and make some more sales. Let me know if you have any questions, and I'm excited for you to try the app.